I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration, a complete breakdown of Trump's identity politics, white reparations. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear in this demonstration is only the opinions of mine and others. Everything is allegedly. Salute to my replay gang. Salute to my replay gang. Salute to the chat. This will be an open panel. So if any of you would like to join me on the panel and discuss this, I'll drop the link in a few and feel free to join me on the panel. All right. Now, this is actually part 2 of the demonstration that I done yesterday as far as Blacks, Asians, and Hispanics regret voting for Donald Trump. Now, it's no secret, or this is nothing new that you all about to hear. Many people feel as though Donald Trump is racist. Okay, so y'all tell me what y'all think after I run this clip. Just by what he's about to say, would you consider Donald Trump a racist or not? I'll let y'all decide. Let me run the clip.
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Based on that, is that enough to say that Donald Trump is prejudiced, racist towards Black people? The interviewer asked him about Blacks dying at the hands of police. She mentioned George Floyd, and we all are familiar with George Floyd. Donald Trump answered her, white people die at the hands of the police also. He even went as far to say more white people die at the hands of police than Black people. Is that a racist statement? Or do you feel as though there's some prejudice in Donald Trump? Now, and the reason why I played that, and the reason why I'm speaking on it, because I want to see if the people that claim that the identity politics means reparations for white people, I'm trying to see if they go hand in hand. Now, based off of this clip that I'm getting ready to play, I played it on the last demonstration. Based off of this clip, many people, Roland Martin is one, believes that Trump is speaking in terms of rewarding white people reparations. Let me run this clip and we will get into it. I will break it down.
Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. So
now, salute 80s, baby. Salute 80s, baby. And I'll drop the link. Now, according to Trump, he's targeting these colleges who were violating taxpayers' dollars. 80s baby says definitely racist. He should have just answered the question, but he deflected it and talked about other race issues when that wasn't what was asked. I agree with you, 80s baby. I agree with you. Now, the thing with the reparations is something that is old. I heard him mention restitution. Restitution and reparations, I like to think of them two different things, but I guess they both fall in the same category. I mean, reparations, you owe something. 9 times out of 10, you owe some money. Restitution, you owe something. 9 times out of 10, money. So salute positive vibe. Salute positive vibe. I guess we can say when he mentioned restitution, he could be speaking on reparations. However, he's saying that the restitution should be owed to tax-paying citizens whom these colleges took advantage of. That could be Europeans, white people. That could be melanated people, black people. That could be Asians, Hispanics. That could be any ethnic group, any race. You can't single it out. And that's why I did this as an open panel, because maybe somebody is seeing something that I'm not seeing. I don't, and I said this on the last demonstration, I don't see how, by what he said, I don't see how you get out of that he's talking about reparations to be given to white people. White people aren't the only ones that pay taxes. White people aren't the only ones that send their children to college. We have to get out of that mind frame. Salute, Nola. We got to get out of that mind frame that only white people do this. We have to get out of that mind frame that only black people do this. We have to get out of that mind frame that only this group of people do this. We're in America. Salute, Tommy. Salute, Still Swinger Podcast. And in America, America is a melting pot. And America has been a melting pot for a long time. So you just can't say, oh, well, white people are going to be the only ones that are going to benefit off of that because white people is the only one that send their kids to college. Are you crazy? Do you know how many white people that don't send their kids to college? Do you know how many Hispanics, Asians, melanated people? Do you know how many non-whites send their kids to college? So for me, I just don't see how the identity politics, I don't see how it leads up to what he just said. Now we got to remember that they did take the identity politics out of the Constitution. They did take that out of the Constitution. Let me run it again, because as I said before, maybe it's something I'm missing. Salute, Marty. Salute to the chat, y'all. Maybe it's something that I'm missing. I'll run it back again. And like I said, I'll drop the link again. I'll drop the link again. And for those that were on yesterday's demonstration, I said that I was going to maybe do a part 2. Salute, Bronze. Salute, Flat Power God. Appreciate you for pulling up. Well, this is the part 2 from that previous demonstration. So I'm going to run the clip. And like I said, if any of you all want to hit the panel with me, feel free to hit the panel. But I didn't detect out of this anything that Donald Trump is making reference to giving white people reparations. Let me run it back, and maybe somebody see, or maybe somebody hears something that I just don't hear. But I don't get out of this that he's talking about giving reparations to white people.
Donald Trump is saying
Worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit.
All right, stop right there for 1 second. He's talking about the schools that discriminate. He's talking about civil rights. I last time I checked, I didn't know white people fell under that umbrella. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not.
Let me run it back.
Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowment.
Salute my boo. Salute my boo. So he's talking about going after schools that participate in racial discrimination. Somebody help me understand, how does that make reference to white people? Tommy from Still Swinging Podcast says, bro, you can't believe nothing Roland talking about. And I'm well aware of that. But Roland isn't the only one that's been speaking like that, but we are building off of what Roland say. But where are you going at with this, Roland? I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, and usually, you know, I do give Roland the benefit of the doubt, and I do listen to him. But where is you going at with this, Roland? This doesn't make sense. Now I'm going to run this other clip where as though some people might got a good case as far as calling Trump racist towards blacks. Tommy from Still Swinger Podcast says he's just a bunch of people that have followed his lead because he said it, that just run with it. Positive Vibes says Roland needs a toupee or just go bald like Shank. Of course, Positive Vibes wouldn't be Positive Vibes if she didn't roast me. Now, I'm going to run this clip back for those that are just pulling up, as far as when the interview asked him about why is black people being killed by the police. He threw off and said, well, black people aren't the only ones. White people get killed by the police as well. And in fact, more white people get killed by the police than black. Now that's wrong all the way. You know I disagree with that, but let me run it for those that just pulled up. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Said to her, what a terrible question to ask. And many of y'all might say, Shane, 1 minute you campaigning for Trump, the next minute you disagreeing with him. Y'all know how I do. I give y'all the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've always said that there are things when it comes to Trump, there are things that I disagree with him on. I don't agree with everything that Trump says. I don't agree with everything that Trump wants to do. I've always said that. But I've also told y'all, I give y'all the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, this statement, you know, I definitely disagree with him on this. Because I tell you what, we can just take 1 year. Well, we could take 6 months. How about that? Let's take 6 months. And you could use any year. You could use any year from the 2000s, the 1900s, the 1800s, the 1700s. I'll give you 6 months. Salute, Pee-wee. 6 months of blacks that lost their lives to police brutality. 6 months of us losing our lives to them. And I'll give you 400 years. I'll give you 400 years of Caucasians, of European people losing their lives at the hands of the police. And I promise you, the 6 months of us still outnumbers white people losing their lives. Give me a minute, Tommy. I'm going to bring you up. 80s Baby says, definitely deflected. Just answer the question. He knew there was no comparison. There's no comparison at all. And one thing that stood out the most was he said to her, that was a horrible question. It reminds me of the many Caucasians and European people that pull up in the chat. And it reminds me of whenever I'm speaking racial issues, whenever I'm speaking blacks, especially when blacks are the victims and white people are the perpetrators, the white people that's in the chat, they always try to distract me. They always throw off of the real issue. And this is one of the issues that I do have with Trump. Let me bring Tommy up and see what Tommy can add on. Salute, Tommy. Peace.
Salute, Shank Rock. Salute, my brother. Salute to the chat and everybody. Hope y'all having a wonderful evening. Shank Rock, I just think, like, listen, I listened to that whole demonstration you played. I didn't hear that, bro. I didn't hear anything like that from it. All right, all I'm saying is this. When you're dealing with Roland Martin and the likes thereof, don't expect to hear anything good about Trump. Don't expect to hear anything bad about the Democratic Party. Okay? Like, I'm sure if you let Roland Martin run the clip, he can tell you exactly where Trump said that. No matter how ridiculous he gonna sound, making that be what he's saying. You know why? Because he know he gonna have some people that's just gonna say, yeah, that's right. Because he said it. You know, like, you gotta understand, they ran that campaign on running this fear. Okay, listen, if you let Roland Martin tell it, right? If Trump got back in office, we was going back into slavery. If you would have let Roland Martin tell it. Okay? I mean, you're talking to a logical, sound thinking man, okay, who went to political science in the 9th grade. He don't have the power to do that. He just don't, family. He don't have the power to do that. Listen, what you can expect from Trump is the same thing you got from him last time. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get anything different. It's not gonna be worse. It's not gonna be better. It's gonna be much of the same thing he did last time. All right, like they upset that Kamala Harris lost. Somebody need to be to blame for it. Anybody except where the blame go. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, let me slide in for 1 second, Tommy.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna read this question for you from Pee Wee, and then after you answer the question, I'm gonna drop you down and let anybody else that want to come up. I'm giving everybody I'll give everybody 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm gonna ask Tommy this question. He'll answer it. I'll let him down, and if anybody else want to come up on the panel with me, feel free. Salute Michelle. Salute Michelle. Pee Wee says, well, what did you hear him say, Tommy? Help us out, bro.
What did I hear who say?
I believe Trump. But
I did not hear him say at all what you just said, Shank. That he said that he was gonna give white folks reparation. I did not hear that.
Let me run the clip back, and then he said he didn't hear, but just let me run the clip back one time, Tom. Give me
But through budget reconciliation, worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America.
So I believe out of what he said, Pee Wee is asking, well, what did you hear him say? I see you, Marty. I'm going to come to you after I let Tommy down, Marty. Give me a second. Okay,
right.
Tommy, go ahead.
In my opinion, I just think he just said, you know, look, some of what's going on in the schools, all right, I think he said it need to stop, and I agree with it, you know, and listen, I don't think civil rights give you a license to force things on our children that, you know, the parents absolutely don't agree with, because, you know, a certain group of people keep saying it's not fair. I mean, that's what I hear. I hear he want the schools, you know, respectable, you know, and decent. That's what I hear. I don't hear that he gonna give them reparations. I just hear, you know, look, I'm for that. You can be against that. Listen, what my thing is this, right? If you don't like somebody, right, you can always find something you don't like about them. All right, listen, if you're looking for a problem with somebody, you can always find one. Always. Shank Rock, if somebody looking for a problem with you, they gonna find one.
That's true.
If somebody looking for a problem with Tommy, they gonna find one. They ain't gonna like nothing you said. They looking for a problem with you.
That's true.
They gonna be against anything you said when they looking for a problem with you. They not gonna distinguish that they in their feelings. They can't. They need to have a problem with you. So anything you just said is gonna be a problem. Trust me, when somebody wanna have a problem with you, it ain't nothing you can do about it. They gonna have a problem with you.
And let me slide in, Tommy. And on that note, let me drop you down so I can move forward and give other people.
All right, I'm
a chance.
back in the comments, bro.
I appreciate that. Tommy makes some excellent points. He made some good points. Once again, if any of you all want to join me on the panel, feel free to click on the link. Marty says, according to national law in 2023, pow by police, whites 489, blacks 249, Hispanic 164. In 2024, blacks 207, whites 308, Hispanic 144. So I guess from Marty's comment, and Marty, if you would like to join me on the panel to brief us on what you get out of that, that's fine. If not, I'll just give my take on it. According to the national law that Marty given us, whites are leading in the pow cases when it comes to police brutality. So maybe Trump was right when he said what he said. I don't know. I'm going to go by Marty's statistics that she gave us. Maybe he's right. Let me read this on identity politics, and then I'm going to come on back down to the chat. Okay, Marty says she just Googled it. All right, I see you, Nola. Let me read. It says identity politics. Identity politics is based on a particular identity, such as ethnicity, race, nationality, religion, denomination, gender, sexual orientation, social background, caste, and social class. So that's what identity politics is. Let me come to Nola. Nola says Trump can talk until he blue in the face. Nola says Congress and Senate must pass it, which I agree. Nola says first transgender won as House of Representative as a Republican. Marty says I Googled it. Nola says I think Sarah is her name. Okay, so let me run the clip again of what Trump said. But according to what Marty just Googled and what Marty sent us, he was right. All right. How many of y'all agree that Trump is right? How many of y'all disagree? Drop a 1 if you think he's right, what I'm about to play. Drop a 2 if you disagree. Now, Marty just Googled it. So what are y'all thoughts?
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
What are y'all thoughts? Marty says he really just said that whites are dying too. What are y'all thoughts? Nola says Sarah is from Delaware. Now, when it comes to the white reparations, I didn't detect anything that he said in that clip that I played that was leading to him giving white people reparations. I'm with Tommy. I didn't detect anything. I didn't hear him mention anything about whites. Positive Vibe says he deflected from that question. Now, when it comes to that question, you know, even, and I don't know the data. I don't know the data. Even if that is true, that whites are leading as far as pow incidents with the cops. Pee Wee says, but he really answered that question. If you could just give me 3 minutes, Pee Wee, if you could just give me 3 minutes to kind of like just come up on the panel and just kind of like give a brief demonstration on, because I don't want to miss nothing. I don't want to miss anything. So, that's why I wanted to do this open panel, to get the opinions of others on both sides. I want to hear the opinions on both sides. That's why I done the open panel. So if Pee Wee, if you could just give me 3 minutes, 5 minutes to come up and kind of like go through what you heard and you saying, but he really answered the question. Okay, so I guess that's so. Okay, let me backtrack. Let me backtrack. 80s Baby says he never gave an opinion on the blacks dying. He never responds on any black situations. He just automatically goes to white situations only. Okay, so Pee Wee, it's just a 2-part question. The first part was the first clip that I ran with him answering the interview with white people. More white people die at the hands of the police than blacks. And then the second part is when he was mentioning the restoration, as far as the colleges taking advantage of the taxpayers. Did you detect out of that anything where he's mentioning reparations for white people only?
I didn't detect. He was just saying it was reparations. No, I didn't detect that. But like I don't know, somebody else said it. It was a lot of deflecting in there.
Okay.
It's a lot of deflecting. I mean, you already know. It's a lot of deflecting in there, because when I ask you a question, Shank, you give me an answer. If you ask anybody a question, they give you an answer. He never, even with the first one, I didn't detect. No, he was just saying reparations, and he's right. A lot of Caucasian people do die at the hands of the police. I agree with that. I ain't got no argument with that. And far as the colleges, it's been a big scandal with that colleges and people doing stuff with college and the taxpayers. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago when somebody, I forgot, I don't know the names and all, but the person got, because they was doing they was like getting their kids in the colleges and stuff like that, but they wasn't paying. You remember that? So they wasn't paying.
That's true.
You
The
saying?
actors. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. You feel me? So that's why I agree with them. Plus our education, these are our kids, these are our futures, these are the next adults that's going to be. So why not have them get the proper, education that they need? I agree with all that. I agree with all that. But that second question, that second clip, bro, you deflecting. He never really answered the question. He went, and listen, and I understand why people understand that he went straight back to the rep, even in that, straight back to the white people, because he like, okay, are we really dealing with, because she asked him about black people. She asked him about the racism towards black people. That's what she asked him about. But what did he go to? Straight to the Caucasian people.
I feel you. Excellent. Excellent. And that's why I needed you to come up. Excellent.
You feel what I'm saying? So, bro, no, answer this question. You know how we, especially me, if I ask a question, I want to answer to it. I'm looking, because either I'm looking for something, or I'm looking for some justification in your actions. And in politics, a lot of people, they teach you. You're educated how to go around the question without being obvious of it. But when you got certain people with certain skills, they can see, all right, don't deflect. answer the question. And he never really answered the question. Somebody said that in the comments. No, he never really, and to me, he never really answered the question. And Tommy was right. Far as, you know what I mean, a person's feelings, no. I ain't gonna say he was right, but I agree with him when people don't have the ability to know how to dislike, because that's a lot of people I dislike, but I don't have no problem with them. You feel me? I don't have no problem with you. I just don't like you. We ain't vibing on the same wavelengths. That's cool, right? But I have a problem with you. Then yeah, my feelings is involved. Because now you done something to trigger something or cause a reaction in me. That's when the problem come in. But if I don't like you, I don't really care anything about. You know, so but yeah, that was my question though, Shaq. Bro, good topic though.
All right.
I'm gonna drop down because I'm at work, but bro, Dad, you
Okay.
doing a great job, bro.
All right.
Everybody in the chat, salute to everybody in the chat.
Appreciate you, Pee Wee. All right. Salute Leslie. Salute Leslie. Salute Tyson. Tyson says whites get killed more because there is more of them. But do the stats on black folks dying in a smaller percentage? It's higher. Okay, that's a good point, Tyson. Good point. Salute Cotan. Still Swinging says you are not going to agree with everything anyone says, because if I know you are not going to like my response, I'm not going to give you one. Tyson says all politicians deflect. Not all cop killings are racial. There's a way to answer that question. I agree with you, Tyson. I agree with you. So make sure everybody pull back up in less than 20 minutes for my second demonstration of today. The Democratic Party used Kamala Harris as a scapegoat. That's the second demonstration of today. I'll give, is it anybody else that would like to join me on the panel? If not, we're going to get out of here, and that'll give me time to get ready for the next demonstration. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate Pee Wee and Tommy for joining me on the panel. I appreciate Nola, Marty, Positive Vibes, 80s Baby, Cotan, Tyson, Leslie, and the rest of y'all that helped out down there in the chat. All right, let me just read this last thing, and then we're going to get out of here. It says, what are the political aspects of identity? Political identity is a form of social identity marking membership of certain groups that share a common struggle for a certain form of power. This can include identification with a political party, but also positions on specific political issues, nationalism, inter-ethnic relations, or more abstract ideological themes. Appreciate everybody for pulling up. My replay gang, let me know what y'all think of this demonstration. Salute everybody, and I'll see everybody back in less than 20 minutes. Salute.